Dude, you ever have garlic bread? And then you get like that oily film all across your mouth? That's what I got going on right now, so let's talk some Armored Core 6. So yeah, this is a Game of the Year contender for me. To say it's a return to form for Armored Core and mecha as a genre would be a gross understatement. For me, Armored Core 6 is arguably, if not my favorite mech game I've ever played. It takes an established formula, takes certain elements from FromSoft's other games, like Soulsborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, implements the ones that make sense into the formula for Armored Core, and it works. It just works. It's a simple gameplay loop that is bolstered and made so memorable because of the customization and the progression systems that the game has on offer. Everything is customizable, from the colors of your mech to the emblems you can create, just like back in Black Ops 2 or something. It's wild what they let you do with that. You can share your builds, your own ACs with other players. It's so good. I haven't even touched the multiplayer. I've only beaten the single player one time. Bear in mind, there are multiple endings. And the game was just sheer glory from start to finish. How do you as a game company, like FromSoft, how do you put out Elden Ring last year, and then next year you come out swinging with Armored Core 6? That's not supposed to happen. I understand the multiple teams, but still, that just tells me the sheer depth and breadth of talent and inspiration they have on that team, or those teams. What is Armored Core 6? It's a game where you play as a giant freaking robot. Very self-explanatory. You have weapons that can be equipped to your arms and to your shoulders, and you can mix and match, and you have various power-ups that you can pursue and unlock to increase the capabilities or overall quality of your mech. You have different legs that you can assign, like biped, which is your standard giant freaking robot. You can have an inverse joint, which makes it easier to jump. Or you can go for tetrapod and have 4 legs, which is really good for aerial combat and hovering. Or you can say screw all of that noise and go for tank treads, which up how much stuff you can pack onto your AC, and you can roll around at the speed of freaking sound. It's great. Everything feels useful, because the formula of Armored Core is very simple, but also fundamentally different from Elden Ring or Dark Souls or whatever. And the reason it's different is because in those games, you pick your build, everything is meant to be taken apart by that build. In Armored Core 6, yeah, you can pretty much beat anything in this game with a build. Sure. The goal and the name of the game, though, is to change your build on a moment-to-moment or mission-by-mission basis to suit the situation you are confronting. I'm fighting an enemy that has a lightning shield surrounding them. I can then swap out my weapons for something that's good against that. My enemy is moving around me quickly. Maybe I can take slow-moving rockets at heatseek, or I can change my strategy and wait for them to stand still and then hit them, or I can make my mech even faster to try and catch up. Every fight, every engagement is a little puzzle for you to solve and to break down. A lot of the times, the game defaults to giant robot power fantasy, and when it defaults to that, it is so glorious. It really is. As you rip and freaking tear through waves of machines that you just pick apart with your build until you come across something that is built different from all the rest, and you have to put your metal to the test and fight it 1v1 or sometimes with a little buddy from the storyline. Each mission plays and feels and looks fundamentally different to one another. And while personally I would have liked a few more changes in the aesthetic than just snow levels or factory-esque locations, the game itself, mechanically speaking and even visually, is stunning and wonderful to play. Every mission has different objectives. You tackle each mission in different ways, depending upon what your build is. This ups replayability, because the game itself is not that long. But I have played through a lot of the missions over and over again with different builds to try and get S ranks for the timing. Yeah, once you beat a mission for the first time, you unlock the ability to replay that mission for rank. That rank is created by a number of variables, but the one I find to be the most of consequence is either the time or the amount of damage you sustain. And I don't mind replaying these missions again because I can use my later gear on these earlier missions, which changes how I tackle these fights. It's so fun, and it challenges me to be even better at the game, to understand timing, understand EN management, which is essentially your energy or your stamina, using weapons to fit the engagement. Sure, there are certain weapons far stronger than the others, the Zimmermans and the stun needles being two great examples of this. You don't have to use them. You really don't. They are extremely powerful, but you don't have to use them. So you pair interesting gameplay, fun fight design, alongside brilliantly paced progression systems that reward you with customization. And all of those systems interplay with one another to create an experience greater than the sum of its parts. The story itself is okay, and I definitely think it picks up after Chapter 4 begins. Which is a little bit late in the game, but the game was still so fun before that I didn't mind, and had some excellent moments. But looking back on it, I do genuinely love the story. It's interesting, it's quite simple and straightforward in a lot of ways, but I do like it. And it's interesting the amount of emotional engagement they got out of me, considering the fact I didn't see one human face in this entire game, outside of like maybe one data log. The VO in this game is another level, and I think a lot of it boils down to FromSoft understanding just how much they have to do to keep players engaged, while they interweave epic moments in time that you will remember. I will always remember Rusty saying, "I won't miss." If you played this section, you know exactly the scene and the moment that I'm talking about, because it's that memorable. The story doesn't need to be 40 hours or 100 hours with a bunch of character moments to be good and engaging. This is an example of rule of cool can suffice a lot of woes, and it deals with interesting subject matters. And the twists and turns that this story takes honestly surprised me. Armored Core 6 is one of those games where once I put it down, I'm going to miss the time I had in it. I fully intend and plan to get the other endings. I don't mind replaying the game this many times to get those other endings, because the core gameplay loop is so fun and enjoyable and replayable that I don't mind replaying it all again with different builds and getting newer and newer stuff. Creating my own mechs, that was one of my favorite aspects of me streaming the game. I made ACs based on chat suggestions. We made a pink AC that now has a cult in my Discord, called Pink Menace. We made Optimus Prime, Master Chief, Metalface from Xenoblade 1, Siren from Xenoblade 2, and I made one AC that was essentially the channel colors, red, black, and white. It's the creativity and the abilities that the game gives you to customize its interface with your own AC, to give it a sense of individuality and uniqueness, to make it feel all of your own. In the grand scheme of things, those aspects may not seem all that important, but in the moment, they can be pivotal to immersion, and add so much to the overall game, especially a mecha game, because mecha have a unique opportunity to just let you customize the mech on a moment-to-moment basis without it breaking your immersion. Because it's a robot, it's a machine, you can do that. And whether you tackle a fight with biped legs or tetrapod or tank treads, it changes how you encounter, how you fight, what gear you can have equipped at any given moment. Fighting in the arena was so much fun. Going against one AC after the other to improve my rank, to unlock additional talent points that I can spend to strengthen my mech across the board. I loved that. The game at no point felt like it had to hold my hand. It let go and just let me do what I wanted to do. The rewards were constant. I always felt like I had something to go for or to get better at. And I would say that the bosses got significantly easier after Chapter 1 with Baltius, but I spent so long on Baltius, 31 tries in total, that I learned how to play the game, so that when I fought the later bosses, I didn't struggle nearly as much, because I understood how to play the game. I understood what to look out for, what overall strategies that I should invoke. I also used dual Zimmermans because it was just freaking cool. Armored Core 6 is at its best when you're in a giant robot power fantasy. because the game will give you the tools to feel like that in any mission that you're in. FromSoft games aren't successful or memorable or beloved solely because of their difficulty. They are memorable because of the moments and time that they create that become memorable to you, the player. You remember when you fought these bosses, when you got to these moments, how hype they were, how the game will say to you, okay, you saw we can do this to you, now you can do it to us. You can find Moonlight somewhere in the game, I won't spoil where. And there's so many different aspects to this game's formula, especially in the arena, where you fight a robot that may have a certain loadout, and you're like, you know what, that seems kind of cool, I would like to run that eventually, and then you may unlock it. Or you may realize, hey, I already have that, I can try it out. The game's tutorial sections are extremely well crafted and are informative, so you understand how to play the game. That's what Chapter 1 is really all about. It's teaching you how to play the game, and it all builds up to this pivotal boss fight at the end of Chapter 1, where you have to put all of the lessons to the test, and then just get good. And once you understand how to play Armored Core 6, the rest of it can just fall over, because once you... It normally only took me one pull to identify what build I would need to beat a boss. And that was great. I felt like I was getting better at the game, and the game was rewarding me for getting better at it. Armored Core 6 is a gameplay mechanical masterpiece. It is fun, replayable, customizable, and wonderfully paced, with a storyline that starts off kind of slow and confusing because you're jumping around different corporations and different merc jobs, but it all just comes together and creates something I will never forget. If you have not played Armored Core 6, or if you're not familiar with mech games, I fully recommend it. The controls are tight. I played on the PS5, by the way. The controls felt tight, they felt smooth, they felt responsive. There was really no moment in the game where it felt like I died or I failed because of the game. I failed because of my own incompetence, and I got better. That was great. It's a difficulty that, to me, wasn't all that frustrating outside of the first half of my wipes to Baltius. But then it clicked, and I just got better at it. It's one of those games where you put the controller down and you think about the next time you're gonna play. What kind of AC you want to build? What color scheme can you come up with? What weapons do you want to try out, or what weapon customization or combination you want to try out? You can't actually customize individual weapons in this game. But what you can do is you can take the talent that says, hey, you know how your hand weapons and your shoulder weapons are different? Well, now you can equip hand weapons to your shoulder weapons and swap them out if you want. It's so clean. So I can put a sword on my back and have two guns in my hands, and then when I need a melee weapon, swap to my melee sword. It's phenomenal. The game never holds back and says, wait a minute, this is too cool, we can't let you, the player, do this. The game doesn't do that. If it's cool, it'll let you interface with it, or interact with it, or just utilize it. If I had any complaints, there's quite a few, like, machine guns that feel like, okay, do we need this many machine guns? Like, yes, they have different rates of fire and all that, but still, maybe I just didn't utilize them enough to understand the differences a lot. But it's one of those games where, yes, it has some flaws, but the strengths outweigh them so dramatically and so excessively that I don't care about the flaws. And that's the hallmark of a great game, because every game will have flaws. But the strengths are so high and so well crafted that I don't mind. Like, yes, there is a balancing issue with certain weapons. I understand that. However, you don't have to utilize them if you don't want to. If you want to try a different build for a different gameplay loop, go right ahead. There's a lot of powerful builds depending upon the situation. Do the machine guns just not interest you all that much? That's fine. There's a whole host of other weapons that you can utilize. And quite a few different shotguns. I use shotguns quite a bit in this game because I found them fun. I like the idea of just boosting up to a mech, shooting them once with the shotgun, and they were gone. And just moving on to the next mob, and feeling like some kind of Reaper of Death going across this factory. It was great. And what Armored Core 6 makes me want the most is Armored Core 7, because I just want more. And that's my review of Armored Core 6. A phenomenal masterpiece from a company that had just put out another one the year before. A return to form not only for Armored Core, but for the mecha genre as a whole. I want more mecha games, and I want them to find their own place in their own niche. Don't just copy Armored Core 6. Take good aspects from it, but find your own identity. I want to see a revival of this genre, because Armored Core 6 showcases that it can still be alive and well and thrive in the modern gaming landscape, because this genre is special. And Armored Core 6 was the perfect reminder of that. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day, go play some video games if you can, and as always, I'll see you all next time, and leave a comment down below with if you're going to check out Armored Core 6, or if you have already, tell me how you like it, how you feel about it, what's your opinions, what's your thoughts, what's the most memorable moment for you. I'd love to hear your stories and hear your opinions. Stay safe, have a great day, go play some video games if you can, and as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye bye everybody, until we meet again.